Come on in, guys. We got to talk. We got to talk tonight. We have to talk tonight. It is storming so bad outside. I'm sure you guys can hear that. It is storming really bad. Really, really bad outside. Hopefully, I don't have a bad connection here. Hopefully, I don't have a bad connection here because it's storming really, really bad. But we got to talk. We got to talk. Come on in, guys. Load on in. Load on in. Load on in. We got a lot to discuss tonight. A lot to discuss tonight. So let's do it. Come on in, guys. I was trying to give people time to load in. I'm going to have to put some kind of notification system together because it's controversial. I'm getting pushed further and further into the abyss, seems like. I mean, I know I'm banned by the shadow, but good Lord. Good Lord. Come on in, guys. Load on in quickly. Load on in quickly. I'm gonna have to put a notification system together because people are on the people are on the website. I can't get people off the website, guys. If you're not on the website, you're missing out, guys. I cannot get people off the website, so I'm gonna have to come up with something just so I could be able to tell people, hey guys, we're live over here. Come over here, guys. We're going live. So I may put some kind of alert system on the website here so that when people are live, I can send out a push notification on the site to let them know we got to talk. We got to talk collectively. Guys, if you're not on the site, be sure to join the site. If you can't afford to join this, it's $13, guys. And trust me, the amount of storage that I have to buy for this site, the $13 go to good use. Trust me, guys. We have downloaded so many files. The storage bill is crazy. So every time you guys search and download files, it goes into, counts to my it's on my server. So anyway, we got to talk tonight, guys. I know you guys have heard. Hey, y'all. Hey, in the chat. Hey, Margot. Hey, Copper. Hey, Maisha. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Scotty. Click like, share the live so that people can come in. I can't believe how shadow banned I am on a Friday night. It must be raining everywhere. Is it raining everywhere? If somebody got something else good to talk about, I doubt it. I doubt it. Just recycled topics, guys. I got something for you guys tonight outside of what's happening in politics today. I'm sure you guys have heard. I'm sure you guys, and this wasn't even what I was going to discuss today, but it's just so interesting. It's just so interesting that this is happening on today. Guys, US to review all 55 million visas to check if holders broke rules. You know, it's a great time to be alive if you are American. You know who the rule breakers are. You know, those who come over, have a baby from Fufu land, those who come over and scam everybody. You know who the first gonna be to go home. So y'all might well say bye. Goodbye, Fufu. Goodbye. Everybody visas is being checked. I think this is amazing. I think this is amazing. I'm wondering why a lot of other people aren't. This just happened today, so I'm sure more people will catch on. This should be viral on TikTok for everybody who's been talking shit in our chats. This should be viral for all the Pan Africans and all everybody, African Union people in my comment section telling me who I am and what I am. This should be viral for them. Everybody should be happy now. Everybody gets to go home. Everybody gets to get their visas checked to make sure they aren't staying over. All of the students who came over here and get to tell us we don't have any education and they come over here and do so much better than us. Guess what? They gonna check that visa to make sure you're not staying over because you was only supposed to be over here for an education. You was never supposed to be able to have a wedding, throw money up in the air, do your little goofy dance with your little goofy hat on. You was never supposed to be able to do all of that, ma'am, sir. You just thought shit was sweet. I got another observation. It's just an observation. This is just an observation, guys. Come on in, guys. Come on in. I can't see my chat right now. Come on in, y'all. Click the live. Click like. Share the live. Come on in. I got an observation that I need y'all to help me with before I get to some breaking news. Some breaking news. Okay? Before I get to it, I need y'all to share the live. Click like, share the live. I got an observation while we was talking about Fufu and them. I have an observation that I don't know why nobody has brought this up while we're talking about all of the visas that are going to be checked to make sure nobody got a DUI while they had. I'm telling you guys, it's strenuous what they're doing here. If you got a ticket, a DUI, any kind of domestic violence charge while you was over here with your little bit of visa, your little green card, baby, they checking all of that. They checking all of that. If you scammed anybody, they're checking it. And guess what? Your visa is being revoked. And I'm so glad about it because we need to clean up our streets, our social media streets, from all this big shit talking that's been going on. Especially for those of us who don't bother nobody. Y'all can just look in my comment section. Is like, you just unprovoked. Africans are just unprovoked in my comment section. And I wasn't talking about them until they started talking about us. We're in defense mode here. But I also want to bring something else to y'all attention. I remember this when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I remember there was a big push. I mean, they all but had us afraid to have sex, when we was growing up, going into adulthood and going into college. Because they had all this AIDS stuff. In high school we were scared straight. We weren't even humping with clothes on. You just because all these Africans, all these darkies that look like us, they had AIDS. And we was told as kids that if you contract AIDS, this is in the 90s, late 90s. If you contract AIDS and you have a baby, then your baby will also be born with AIDS. Like you have to go back to the marketing material from the 90s. Okay. This was very much some continental African disease. Like they was over there dying of AIDS. Like all of them got it. The babies got it, the mammy, the dad, the whole village. Whole village is just dying of AIDS. So I'm trying to see, where did we go wrong here? Because isn't that a national security or national health? Was they ever even supposed to be over here in the first place with all that AIDS and stuff? So if you had AIDS, if your parents had AIDS in the 90s, in the 80s, then what happened to all those AIDS kids? Are they the ones that's over here talking shit in our chat? See, it might seem like a low blow, but You coming and telling me my grandmama is a lie is a low blow as well. So is these the kids of the adults who had all this AIDS in the 80s and the 90s is my question. And should the national security officers or who's ever over this whole thing, should they also take that into consideration in the deportation process? Now, I know they're going to deport all of the people who are over here who have, done illegal things. But for those who are able to stay, should not some kind of safety protocol be implemented, or some kind of health screenings, or some kind of AIDS tests to make sure they don't have AIDS so they won't spread it to our good American people over here? We actually should have did this prior to them even coming over here, because I know when you go to Africa just to visit, you have to take like 80 shots. We don't make these people take no shots or nothing when they come over here. They don't have no record, no health screenings. They don't have to do any kind of test. They just get to come over here willy-nilly, talk any kind of shit they want to us, get in our business, tell us we're not American, tell us we came on a slave ship. How you gonna tell me something and I was here for you? You wasn't even in the house yet. I'm just me petitioning to the government, or maybe someone who works for the government, maybe y'all, because see, there has been an AIDS spike here in America, and I want people to take into consideration the babies of these niggas here are over here. They're over here. Okay, so if you take them out of the population, will the AIDS statistics drop? I just need us to talk about it. I know it ain't just on my mind. It's on my mind. I'm seeing the AIDS rise in all of these cities, and it's an influx of Nigerians and all these people in all these cities. Shouldn't we isolate the problem and deport it back to where it began? Almost a million estimated cumulative adults AIDS cases in Africa. This was in 91. If you look at the statistics now, it's even worse. Nigeria is leading in AIDS statistics, and they said this thing came from a goddamn monkey or a gorilla or something. They said this originated in an animal. And does that tie into the Tyrone bill that I read last show with Bill Clinton in it? Because Bill Clinton Foundation was in Africa. Okay, so that whole cloning thing, was these niggas cloned from those monkeys for real? And really, that's how AIDS started, how they were saying it in the 90s? I'm thinking now, guys. I'm really thinking. It's really got me to thinking. And I implore you to think as well. I implore you to think, especially in Houston. Yeah, they said here too. They said here in Atlanta too. I mean, you gotta isolate it though. I mean, because we were straight before all these Africans came and with no AIDS all over the place. You want no AIDS all over the place. I mean, AIDS went from Africa, and then they tried to put it on gay men over here in America. But now they saying everybody got it. That ain't how this go. These isolate the babies of these AIDS Africans from the 80s and the 90s. Where they chilling at? Online talking shit to us. Get them out of here. It's a national health crisis. It's an epidemic. Okay? Yes, speedy. Yeah, get them out of here expeditiously. Okay, so guys, listen. What had happened was, the other day when I was live, I had made mention of us not being on the seriousness. Okay, serious. You said, I hear they have followed us to Atlanta. Follow who to Atlanta? It's not only in Houston, it's Indiana, Illinois, New York, everywhere they are. Everywhere they are. And someone needs, yeah, and they're marrying to be here. And so that's what I'm saying. The government is going to handle them marrying and all that illegally. They're going to get them out of here. Please click like and here, guys, so more people can come in. They're going to handle that. Them marrying and all that, they're going to handle that. I'm referring to now is all these mushmouth shit talkers in our comment section. Like it's a few in my comment section calling me a liar. Do you have AIDS, sir? What's your birthday? Let me do some calculations here. Were you born in the 80s and 90s? 2000s? Then you're likely an AIDS patient because that's just how much AIDS was going on in Africa. In fact, that's why we sent our 5 cents a day in the first place. We need to put this all into perspective. We sent our 5 cents a day because y'all was going through an epidemic, a crisis, of AIDS and hunger. See, we left out the AIDS part because we was being nice. We never called ourselves African over here. They knew who was goddamn who always. Just from the AIDS factor alone. We knew who the Africans were clearly. You were booty scratchers. We knew the Africans had AIDS because that's what the media was telling. That's what the reports say. That was the National Institute of Health. AIDS was never our problem until way after the fact. And again, it became a gay male disease after it was an African disease, a disease that came from monkeys or gorillas or something. I don't know whether y'all were humping the gorillas, whether Bill Clinton took his cloning program over there and started cloning people and really making gorillas and shit. And that's where that whole all humanity came out of Africa. And they trying to say, oh, this happened eons and eons ago, and that shit really happened in the 80s and the 90s. You know, I just think the National Institute of Health should put two and two together. You know, I just think they should put two and two together. Okay, guys, so listen. Serious talk. Okay, this serious talk. Serious talk. Okay. So, before I get on the serious talk, I want to bring something to y'all attention as it relates to this immigration thing that I think we also should look into. I pulled up the old Wong Kim Ark because everybody is over here based on some Wong Kim Ark, okay, that gave them so-called birthright citizenship. But I had pulled up the original Wong Kim Ark documents, and I saw something in the document that I said, let me bring this to the people. Let me bring this to the people. When I read the document, I noticed that one in the Wong Kim Ark case, Wong Kim Ark was born to parents who was fully Chinese. Okay. He was born over here in America, like an anchor baby should, right? But this was a habeas corpus case, and he was on a boat. Okay. He was held captive on a boat. Somebody just gave me a thumbs down because you want me to go off, but I'm not. You probably one of those people who was over here based on Wong Kim Ark. I think they got it all wrong. Please click like in here, guys, to combat the thumbs down that Africa just gave me. But anyway, Wong Kim Ark, he was detained on a boat, right? And so what was told to us was that Wong Kim Ark used the 14th Amendment to be over here, but that's not what's in the files. He used the Fifth Amendment to be over here. So I think attorneys should go back, because you can revoke Wong Kim Ark. You don't even have to do anything with the birthright citizenship. You should be able to go back into this Wong Kim Ark case and look at it. Now, what the United States did was brought the 14th Amendment in place. The government brought the 14th Amendment in place. And I saw it on here, and I'm going to read it to y'all tonight because it has piqued my interest on a whole nother level. And I will be putting these Wong Kim Ark files on the line, okay? Because I have the whole set of these things. But it's this page in particular that I'm going to read, okay? In the District Court of the United States, in and for the Northern District of California, the United States versus Wong Kim Ark. It is manifest that the common law doctrine that birth within the dominion of the king constituted a person, a subject of that king cannot apply to a republic, and furnishes no right as to the question of what constitute American citizenship. For that question, according to the decision of the Supreme Court of the United States, pertains to the dominion of international law. Judge Story says in Shanka versus DuPont, it's hard to read this document, 3 Peters 245, political rights do not stand upon the mere doctrine of municipal law, applicable to ordinary transactions, but stand upon the mere general principles of the law of nations. The common law doctrine does not govern the determination of this question in the United States. And then it gives you case law here, right? Here's what piqued my interest, and I think the Trump administration, whoever, should look at this file. Look back over these files. Our Constitution, and everybody, especially everybody, our Constitution provides that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. When we say subject to the jurisdiction thereof, we do not mean subject to the jurisdiction of the laws of the United States, but we refer to the political jurisdiction of the United States to which our Constitution has referenced. Our Constitution has reference. I have never heard this last line before. Ever. And I have heard this a million times. I know the Constitution. I've read this a million times. I never heard this before. This is 1897. When we say, this is a judge, United States Supreme Court, when we say subject to the jurisdiction thereof, we do not mean subject to the jurisdiction of the laws of the United States, but we refer to the political jurisdiction of the United States, to which our Constitution has reference. Now that opens up a whole nother can of worms for me. See, it opens up huge can of worms because the United States brought in the 14th Amendment. Wong Kim Ark brought in the 5th Amendment that say because he was locked up on the boat, they wouldn't let him back on in the United States land, on the land. I think the boat was called the Pekin. I got the whole file set. I just don't feel like opening it up on my screen because I got a lot of other stuff open. I think the boat he was detained on was called the Pekin, and he was saying that he has the right to basically, state his case as a citizen. And they were saying, no, you're not a citizen. You're Chinese. You're Mongolian. They're saying, no, you're Mongolian. You're fully Mongolian. They broke it down. And like I said, I'm going to upload it back on the website. Especially for those of you who have not joined, you'll be able to see these files. They were basically saying, no, you can't come back. Then they broke him down, how he dressed, how his customs. They said, you are Chinese. You are Mongolian. You're from China. Didn't care about you being born over here. He didn't bring up birthright citizenship. The United States brought up birthright citizenship in order to justify that his case should be thrown out. And then afterwards, I guess I do have to bring up some more of these files. I may have to show y'all some more of these files. Afterwards, let me see, where my Wong Kim Ark folder at? 1 second. Because after he won the case, where is it? 18. Where is it? 18. Let's see. Let's read this page. Assignment of errors. Y'all, this is my Wong Kim Ark file. All of these documents are related to Wong Kim Ark. And it's even more than this. It's a lot of documents. Um, in the District Court of the United States in for the Northern District of California, in the matter of application of Wong Kim Ark for a writ of habeas corpus, assignment of errors. And now come the United States of America, paled by its attorney, Henry S. Foote, Esquire, United States Attorney for the Northern District of California, and says that in the record and proceedings in the above entitled matter, there is manifest errors, because he was on the boat. He was held captive on a boat. Okay. And particularly specifies the following as errors upon which it relay and which it will urge upon the prosecution of its appeal in the above entitled matter. First, that the District Court of the United States in for the Northern District of California erred in the declaring that the said Wong Kim Ark is a citizen of the United States. Second, that the said court erred in by its judgment in declaring that the said Wong Kim Ark had not fortified his right to return to his country. Third, that the said court erred in by its judgment in declaring that the detention of the said Wong Kim Ark was illegal. See, this came after he won the case. This was like maybe 1896 or 1897 or even after. I think he won this case in 1895 maybe. That the said court erred in its judgment in ordering the discharge of the said Wong Kim Ark. They made errors, is what they're saying here. That errors were made. So I think the government might need to look back into it. Fifth, that the said judgment of discharge is contrary to law. Wherefore, the United States of America appellant prays that the judgment of the United States District Court in and for the Northern District of California be reversed. So a heap of more people get outside of all those visas that are about to be checked. A heap of more people finna get kicked out too. I think if they relook at this, a heap of them people who came and popped the squat and had those anchor babies, if they reverse this, goodbye anchor babies. We'll see you soon. I'll miss you, my buddy. How Smokey Robinson said. I miss you, my friend. Goodbye, y'all. That's all. That's all we can say is goodbye. Please click like it. Click like it here. Let's get more people in. Now, okay, what else I want to show y'all? Keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. What we have here is when you look back over the Wong Kim Ark files, now there is a jurisdiction issue, possibly, because how the Supreme Court explained it in the 1800s as the bill was just being written, they explains that jurisdiction is not a federal jurisdiction thing. That's a political jurisdiction. And I'm just trying to see, can we unpack that? Maybe we need to do another show unpacking that jurisdiction issue, a political jurisdiction, and maybe that makes sense to why we're always getting pandered to. You know, maybe that makes sense why the politicians are always pandering. You know, I got hot sauce in my bag. Why they have to pander to us? Maybe that adds to it. You know, maybe that adds to it. Maybe that adds to it. Now, I also want to show y'all this video that happened. On to the next subject. You know, the military is basically taking over Washington, D.C. And Pete Hegseth, I guess he's Hegseth, Hegseth, and J.D. Vance were up in D.C. and they were just going in on the protesters. And so I want to play a little bit of this so y'all can hear the language. Now, mind you, Pete did a video maybe 2 weeks ago after we was talking about the Department of Defense being the War Department turning into the Department of Defense. We was talking about that on One Live, and not long after that, Pete Hegseth mentioned the War Department versus him mentioning the DOD. So I want y'all to see this guy kind of go in on white people.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you to the Vice President for bringing us here today. Thank you, Secretary, for your leadership. And most importantly, thank you to the men and women of the National Guard. I think here's the most important point. There are residents who lived in Washington, D.C. their entire lives. Their parents lived here. Their grandparents lived here. And they have lived for generations in intolerable conditions of crime and decay. There are parts of the city. I moved to the city 20 years ago. There are places where I've seen graffiti that has been untouched for 2 decades. There are homeless encampments that have made it impossible for families to use public parks and public recreation for as long as I've lived here. There are hundreds of residents of this city who are shot.
Oh no! Click like here, guys. Share the live. This is very important.
In street violence every single year, making it one of the most violent cities on planet Earth. And for too long, 99% of this city has been terrorized by 1% of the city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots. They have no connections to the city. They have no families they are raising in this city. They have no one that they are sending to school in this city. They have no jobs in this city. They have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital. And let's just also address one other thing. All these demonstrators that you've seen out here in recent days, all of these elderly white hippies, they're not part of the city and never have been. And by the way, most of the citizens who live in Washington, D.C. are black. This is not a city that has had any safety for its black citizens for generations. And President Trump is the one who is fixing that with the support of the Metropolitan Police Department, the support of the National Guard, and our federal law enforcement officers. So we're going to ignore these stupid white hippies that all need to go home and take a nap because they're all over 90 years old. And we're going to get back to the business of protecting the American people and the citizens of Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Stephen. Few questions.
J.D. Vance obviously ending this trip with a power play here. J.D. Vance roasts leftist protester harassing National Guard troops. Kind of bizarre that a bunch of old white people are out there protesting the policies that keep people safe when they have never felt danger in their entire lives. We know that the left often rents mobs and brings in people who aren't residents of a place, who aren't actually citizens. We saw this phenomenon with Kamala Harris's campaign. And here's J.D. Vance calling them out. People are screaming, free D.C. Let's free D.C. from lawlessness, free D.C. from the highest murder rates in the world. Let's free Washington, D.C. so young people can walk around and feel safe and secure. And it's a beautiful message. Here we go.
The entire world. Let's free Washington, D.C. so that young families can walk around and feel safe and secure. That's what we're trying to free D.C. from. And as Stephen said, it's kind of bizarre that we have a bunch of old, primarily white people who are out there protesting the policies that keep people safe when they've never felt danger in their entire lives.
Oh, wow. Okay. Did nigga what? Did we miss the memo? Has this thing reverted back? Has America reverted back to the republic? Because it's so niggas in charge, then that means niggas in charge. And I'm finna prove it right now. Let's go down. Let us take each other down memory lane as we all click like and share the live. This is very important because it's gonna lead to an investigation that I'm currently. Let me just tell y'all. Okay. So the other day I mentioned something about the census. I mentioned the fact that we're not on the census. Like my generation is not on the census at all. So if we're using census records right now to look for our ancestors, where are generations of our descendants? How are they going to look for us? Right? I said that it just flew out of my mouth on live. I was about to go to sleep that night and I heard something say, put it together. I'm sleepy. I don't got time to get up and do no research. But this voice just wouldn't not let me go to sleep. So I got up and started thinking, okay, put what together? Put what together? So I opened my computer and the first thing I see was my family Bibles. I got a collection of family Bibles on my computer. Family Bibles started being collected in the late 1800s. They started collecting these Bibles. And at all these kind of like fairground events, these fair events, these fairs. They had the Chicago Fair. They had all these big time fairs, right? If you can confiscate a Bible, a Negro family Bible, you can sell it at a fair, and you can get if the Bible is immaculate with the genealogy and all that in it, you could actually get money for that. They give you awards. So a lot of the digital family Bibles that I have, it lists the awards that person got for turning the Bible in. Right? So why would they be confiscating Bibles at the fair? Then I was led down memory lane to this, which was on my other computer. Okay? Circular, please share the live, guys. You're going to want to hear this. Circular relative to lands in the possession of the Indian occupants. Department of Interior, General Land Offices, Washington, D.C., October 26, 1887. The Register of Receivers of U.S. Survey General, gentlemen. Attention. Gentlemen, your attention is called to the circular of the department, May 31st, 1884, relative to lands occupied by Indian inhabitants, 3LD 371, Department of Interior, General Land Office, Washington, D.C., May 31st, 1884. Registrars and receivers in the Land Office, information having been received from the War Department of attempts of white men to dispossess non-reservation Indians, our people, babies of slaves, people who after the Civil War no longer have a tribe, still Indians. Yeah, that's your custom. That's your race. You no longer have a tribe though. Okay, but you're a citizen. So you're not on a reservation. Now you're on your individual land allotments. Okay? Information has been received from the War Department of attempts of white men to dispossess non-reservation Indians along the Columbia River and other places within the military department of the Columbia of the land they have for years occupied and cultivated, and similar information having been received from other sources in reference to other localities where land is occupied by Indians who are making effort to support themselves by their own labor. You are hereby instructed to peremptorily refuse, just means be very clear, refuse all entries and filings attempted to be made by others than Indian occupants upon lands in the possessions of Indians who have made improvements of any value, whatever their own, in order that the homes and improvements of such land may be protected as intended by the instructions you are directed to ascertain by whatever means may be at your command, whether any lands in your districts are occupied by Indian inhabitants. Please share the live. Serious business. And the locality of their possessions and improvements as near as may be, and to allow no entries or filings upon any such lands. When the fact of Indian occupancy is denied or doubtful, the proper investigation will be ordered prior to the allowance of adverse claims. Where lands are surveyed, no appropriation will be allowed within the region of Indian settlement until the surveys has been made and the land occupied by the Indians ascertained and defined. Very respectfully, N.C. McFarland, Commissioner. Approved May 31st, 1884. The foregoing instructions apply to every land district and to all lands occupied by Indian inhabitants in any part of public land states and territories of the United States. It has been officially represented that these instructions are disregarded and that public land entries have been allowed upon lands on which Indian inhabitants have their homes and improvements, and in some cases where Indians have so resided for a number of years, cultivating the soil and making land their permanent homes. The allowance of such entries is a violation of instructions of this department, the War Department. An act of inhumanity to defenseless people and provocation of violence and disturbance. You are enjoined to command to strictly obey and follow the instructions of the above circular and to permit no entries upon lands in possession, occupation, and use of Indian inhabitants or covered by their homes and improvements. And you will exercise every care and precaution to prevent the inadvertent allowance of such entries. It is presumed that you know or you can ascertain the localities of Indian possessions and occupancy in your respective districts. And you will make it your duty to do so. And you will avail yourself of all information furnished you by officers of Indian service. Survey generals will instruct their deputies to carefully and fully note all Indian occupants in their returns of surveys hereafter made or reported, and the same must be expressed upon the plats of surveys. Now, survey generals will instruct their deputies to carefully and fully note all Indian occupants in their returns of surveys, right? Here is where it gets tricky. Here's where it gets tricky. My attention, I was told to put it together. So I started back looking into this era. And then I stumbled, right? It's a brick wall because of this. Because of this. Behold, where these particular files were stored, along with the census records, were burned down. Why is this important? Every tribe had their own census. So if there was 1,300 tribes after the Civil War during Reconstruction, however long those tribes have been keeping record of their people, It was all collected along with the Bibles, stored here at the census. And then there's this great fire that happens. And so now all of these tribes, all of their records, you're not supposed to be able to recognize anybody. Now people are just wiped off the face of the earth because there was a strategic burning. And the files that we have left over, some are burned. Over 65 million files gone in one fire, right? And then when you look at the 1980 census, they said the controversy of this census is that it was burned. Now the 1890 census exists. So what was actually burned? All of the Indian census, all of the lands that was tied to it, the surveys. The other surveys that aren't burnt are connected to the actual land patents. But the old surveys from the 1700s, because this surveying is not a new thing. All of that shit was burned. And now that you're not Indians anymore because we can't recognize you, because the War Department is putting stipulations on everybody. The War Department saying, y'all white people can't have none of this land because it's not for you. You're just supposed to be here. The Indians hired you over here since y'all just bombarded yourselves over here. The Indians hired you to be on their land in their America for whatever purposes, because I guess treaties, they can't kick y'all out. You done went to war with them. They're helpless. They allowed y'all to stay on this piece of land, but y'all was never ever supposed to have land allotments. And then, you go into the land patent system and some land allotments are canceled. I said that years ago. A lot of people who were foreigners, land patents were actually canceled in the system, right? And so they had to find another way, a back door into the lands. And so if I burn the census, because you got to think, if you go back into even the 1950s, people were using census records in order to track the heirs. There are court cases. In fact, there's a court case down in what's right up under the county, right up under Albany. Is that Terrell? Not Terrell. Whatever county is right up under Albany. It was a court case. I ain't been too long, pulled it up. Where this military guy, his Navy guy, was going to court because he came back from war and his family land had been taken, and he was trying to tell the courts that he was an heir, and the courts was like, well, you got to bring us some evidence that you an heir. And, the family Bible was gone, and he said, well, no, y'all always use the census. Basically, why can't y'all just use the census to determine I'm an heir like y'all always do? And so they was using the census to find the heirs. Today, the census is vital statistics. Today, they're supposed to use vital statistics still to this day to find the heirs. That's why when you go to vital statistics, they do your genealogy because they're still keeping track of heirs today. They just don't actively go out and find the heirs because they've been raping us and making money off the land and letting you know that you're not an heir. And so now that you done burned all these Indian census records, it's a great time to change everybody's race. So now what are we? You're colored. You're colored. You're colored. You are colored. You are colored. You are colored. Please share the live. We get into some things tonight. Behold, the burning of 65 million Indian census records from God knows how long these tribes have been taking records. Now you can say these people don't know who they are. They don't know where they're from because you can't pinpoint the tribe because the records was burned. Everybody's records except the 5 civilized tribes. So then there was a fight. Because now y'all act like y'all don't know who's who, because you don't, because you just strategically burned the files. Strategically. At the same time, when you burned all the census records, you was confiscating the family Bible. Families were killed over their family Bibles during the same era. Some people's family Bibles, Negro, colored, darky. How my family Bible ended up at Auburn University. The damn show didn't donate it. Now, what happened to my family? They burned the file. So I was up, guys, almost 24 hours. When I got off that live with y'all, I could not close my eyes. I kept hearing, put it together. Put it together. So this is me putting it together. And when me putting it together, I started looking for these burned records. And that's probably why you could tell on the website, I'm frantic. I'm up, manic, eyes red, looking at records in Australia. Because I know they got an extensive database. They was hiding records in Australia for whatever reason. I don't know why they was hiding our nigga records in Australia. But I'm looking everywhere for this file set to see what made it out of these burnt, because they got to have some microfilm somewhere, right? So I called a developer and I said, I need a way to extract these census records, all of them. I don't give a damn if it's 30 billion census records. However much data, however much storage I need, whatever server space I need for that, how can I get that? And how can I get every record related to the census? Whether I'm going to be able to look at it in my lifetime, I don't know. But it needs to be somewhere in the vault, because I think if you just start pulling out the census records, then you will eventually start pulling out some of these files that was burned, that they put in the building in order to burn everything together. So there is a slot on their website that says census right up under the box where y'all searching. Just kind of disregard. That's for me and the developer. I mean, you can put something in it and it's something to come up, probably the population, but the other census queries will not come up on y'all side. It'll only come up on our side. But I need it there because that's just kind of how we got to do it. And I'm gonna eventually have these records, specifically these records, because we have census records on the site. I'm looking for, and these are not in the United States. The link that I saw for the records, cross seas, private libraries. I'm gonna get my hands on them. Now, we may have something here in some of these destroyed records. I found this as well. Please click like, share the live. I ain't nobody talking about this, but we got to talk about it. And this is very hard to read. As you can see, the file is very much destroyed. But this is just the investigation I'm on right now. That I was woken up, like we couldn't even go to sleep. This says ex-slave bills. It says, this gives you a brief history of this bill. Now, mind you, you were turned into slaves when all your tribes during the Civil War. Now, if you cannot prove that you was a slave, if you go into the Civil War, there are actually slave schedules. Now, before the Civil War, I don't know whether you can prove you're a slave, because working on the plantation don't make you a slave, especially when it was your family plantation. You know, like I said, the government probably listed you as a slave like they did my family, but my granddaddy and my grandma was married. she was a slave and all the children were slaves because they worked on the farm and he was the head of household. So that's just how they listed it. But were they slaves? No, that was their land, and she was a homemaker. But that was a slave role, I guess. Now, but when the Civil War happened, these babies of slaves, these born into slavery, everybody born through the Civil War, and everybody. Anybody born in the Civil War, born into slavery, or right before the Civil War, born into slavery. As they was taking these tribal lands, taking these tribes, deleting these tribes, born into slavery. Whatever they wanted to say about you. The records, pink, some of the records are pink, some of them are gray, some of them are green. And the Union had slaves. The people who served in the military was considered slaves. The Confederate had slaves. Tribes had slaves. Whoever they wanted to turn into a slave during that war, they did it. And then you have these bills. The bill of Honorable Guy Sibley of Mobile, Alabama, a Democrat, 1894 appropriates $400 million to the ex-slaves and pensions of Negroes who were emancipated. If he is dead, give it to his kids. If the kid is dead, give it to his grandchild. February 24th, 1898, Congressman Chas Curtis of Kansas introduced a bill to pension every ex-slave and let the Secretary of the Interior, it's hard to read, Secretary of the Interior, designate what amount to pay each. March 1st, 1898, during the same era, while the records are being burnt, all the Indian files are being burnt, they changing everything over. This is Reconstruction. See, when we talk about Reconstruction, we don't break this part down. How do we play into Reconstruction? Reconstruction was just about our family. They literally reconstructed everything. March 1st, 1898, Mr. Botkins introduced a bill granting land to the ex-slaves and all the money in the government vault. And all the money in the government vault from failure of the Freedmen Bureau at Washington, D.C. Because remember, the Freedmen Bureau started taking, they confiscated it. So he introduced the bill to get the money back. June 6, 1898. Senator William E. Mason reintroduced Senate Bill 4718 to pension the ex-slaves, appropriating, I think that might say $600 million to ex-slaves in the United States. Now I went looking for this stuff. I'm searching, right? Because it says a history of ex-slave bills, and this is in NARA's records. As you can see, this is in the National Archives records. So it's in their possession, right? History of slave bills is in their possession. Right, and if I just keep going, I keep researching, I found this. And it reads, the first page is the bill number, but this is what bill actually starts. Hereinfore stated as a monthly payment in all pensions released from servitude as before stated, who shall be less than 60 years old and of the age of 50 years. Wait, am I reading it backwards? Hold on. Wait. 3, 4. Yeah, I'm reading it backwards. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm supposed to start on this page. Click like, guys. Click like, and share the live. This is very important. Okay. Party shall have been duly convicted, shall be here. Okay, where does it actually start about the money? Okay, here it goes. Section 2. That any person who may have been held as a slave or involuntary servant, like if you had to work for somebody white in the house, under and by reason of any law of the United States, or of either of the state of the United States, or in consequence of any device or custom prevailing within the states of the United States, except for the commission of crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, and who shall have been released from such servitude in a manner before stated, and who shall at the date of the passage of this act have reached the age of 70 years. They said God didn't promise you but 70 years. Shall be entitled to and receive the sum of $500 from the Treasury of the United States, hereby authorized to be paid out to any monies not otherwise appropriated, and to the sum of $15 per month during the residue of their natural lives. This provision shall apply to male and female freedmen alike, and all persons so released from servitude who shall be less than 70 years of age, and of the age of 60 years or over shall be entitled to and receive the sum of $300, and also $12 per month until they shall reach the age of 70 years, when they shall be entitled to and receive the greater sum hereinbefore stated as a monthly payment. And all persons released from servitude, as before stated, who shall be less than 60 years old and of the age of 50 years or over shall be entitled to and receive the sum of $100, and also $8 per month until 60 years old. Y'all do the math, inflation. Somebody pull out an inflation calculator. When they shall receive $12, and all persons released from servitude, as before stated, who shall be less than 50 years of age, shall be entitled to receive $4 per month until 50 years old, when they shall receive $8. All monies herein authorized to be paid shall be dispensed from the general funds of the Treasury not otherwise appropriated. Section 3. The relations of others who may be charged with the support of aged or infirm persons deceased from involuntary servitude in manner aforesaid shall be entitled to and receive the monthly pension awarded to such aged or infirm person in whole or in part, showing to the satisfaction of the Secretary of the Interior, you know where the land files are, and that support is afforded in the humane and becoming manner, the amount of such payment being under the control and direction of the Secretary aforesaid. The Secretary of the Interior shall have power to prepare all needful rules and regulations for carrying into effect the provision of this act according to the true intent and meaning thereof, and to designate proper officers or agents through which freemen and other persons may make application for payment. Okay? And receive monies authorized to be paid by the provisions of this act. Now think of freedmen and other persons, right? Put a pin in that. And other persons. Because I'm finna get to something. Authorized to be paid by the provisions of this act. That all needful rules and regulations for the carrying into effect of the provision of this act shall be approved by Congress before the taking effect thereof. Section 6, that the compensation of agents charged with the enforcement of this law shall be recommended by the Secretary of the Interior and approved by Congress. That this act shall take effect and be enforced from the day after the first day of January, AD 1800, and it's scratched out. Now, it's some handwriting on here. And the handwriting says, now we don't know what this handwriting, whether this handwriting from the 1800s or whether this handwriting from 1990 motherfucking 3. Because if I work at NARA and I see some of this shit survived, and I don't like it, I might write this. The copy of this bill is as introduced in MS, whatever that says, June 6, 1898, Charles Bunch, Secretary, U.S. Senate, right? And then this handwriting under here says, it's hard to read, but to me it says this bill did not, I don't know whether that says become or not, but it looked like it says this bill did not become law, right? Again, this is handwritten. So what I did was I said, well, did the bill become law? You fucking lying to me? So I kept searching. I kept searching. So let me see, where's my next file? I found this. Clearly destroyed files. Clearly. January 13th, 1900. Received of Mr. Henry Clay. And it says, paid out of said treasury of ex-slave. Pension. And it's hard to read. But I see it says whole state something. Then it says the ways and means. The ways and means. It's really hard to read, but it's all of these. It's a lot of these pension records that's in the United States possession. Look, again, this is NARA. You see NARA there. That all of this stuff is recorded in their possessions. And maybe someone said this never passed. Maybe it passed. And see how this is fleshing out. You know, we were supposed to be getting paid for the rest of our lives, descendants. And you see where it says, and other persons? I feel like this is the money that the Native Americans are getting every month. Because that's what I got as I was reading. Midnight. I mean, this had to be 5 in the morning at this point. But when I got off live that night, whatever time I got off live, time I laid my head on my pillow, I heard put it together. So, is this the money the Native Americans have been getting this whole time? Because it says and other person, but they said the bill didn't get passed. But it's a lot of pension records out. In fact, if you're my client, which I just started back keeping up with my clients this week. I started back on everybody's stuff this week. I have sent some of y'all old pension records. I have sent quite a few of you guys old, because y'all know I look at the pension records. But I never looked at the pension records in this capacity. I never looked at the pension records as if something was passed and these pensions were released based on a bill that was passed. I just looked at it as this is something that they were doing for tribes, kind of as a, we're sorry. But I think this actual bill passed. Now I went to congress.gov and it's not there. It's supposed to be bill 1978, Senate Bill 1978. So it's kind of confusing because it's like, well, there's a lot of Senate bills, Bill 1978s. It could be this one, could it be that one? And then there's one, Bill 1978, but it wasn't written until 1978. No, but you know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for them files that y'all burnt and covered up, and how you were supposed to be getting paid all the way up until you 70 years old. And then if you died, your descendants got it. But guess what? You needed those census records to be able to do that. And guess what? I can throttle the census records, right? We can throttle the census records. These census are not going to be released to 20 years, 50 years from now. So whatever throttle they're putting on the census, I think is tied into this money. And I think that's why they look at us crazy when we ask for reparations, because deep down they know they have a set of these files where they already gave it out and they're hiding it. Just like they was hiding these land records until I started digging in the paint and pulling them out. And then now everybody wants to entertain a reparations conversation because I tied us successfully into the land. When everybody was trying to say the land patents are fake, biggest goddamn historian on here came against me about these land patents, saying they was fake and I was making them up. Until you just couldn't say it anymore. Now you got to change the conversation. And now I'm about to force you to change the conversation again. Because if there was already money in the Native Americans again, then they got to pay all that back. As well as who's supposed to be on the land. It came from the War Department. All of our stuff, as I've said in many other lives, all of our stuff is under the War Department. The Freedmen's Bureau was under the War Department. Land records, copies of the land records are under the War Department. They're under the Interior, of course, also under the War Department. So everybody, Negro, colored, darky, Indian, whose land was just taken, was not supposed to be taken. And also, if you're my client, you've also saw what I was doing as it relates to these wars and how so many family lands got turned into camps. And then these family lands got turned into military bases. By this alone, that is illegal. There was never supposed to be an issue where you take a family heir's property and turn it into a military base. It was never supposed to be that. There was never supposed to be a time where white men, this specifically says white men, there was never supposed to be a time where sundown towns were ever supposed to be created. And this is the same era where the KKKs were created. There was never supposed to be a time where these same white men will be able to run Black people off of the land during the World Wars, World War I, World War II. There was never supposed to be a time where sundown towns were created. Never. But let me keep you entertained so that you don't hear the small voices when you lay your head down at night to say, put it together. And now I got to go nuclear. Because if this shit is what I think it is, then the work that I start doing with families, when did I start back taking clients, guys? In fucking April? And specifically for this file was on my old computer just chilling. I forgot all about it. I must have downloaded it some other time for the land patents. I don't know when I downloaded. I just know it was on my other computer. Specifically, I was looking for people whose land was taken during the wars. Specifically, I was looking for people whose land was flooded during these wars. There was never supposed to be a time where the Army Corps of Engineers create a real estate department and get millions of acres while Negroes lose millions of acres. Negroes coloreds because you have nothing fucking else to call us because you burnt all the files in 1890. This better not be what I think it is. It better not be. It better not be. It better not be. But guess what, guys? I wanted to bring it to y'all because look, I see, I'm a girl. Girls are emotional. Girls are emotional. I don't want to be emotional about this situation any more than I have already been. This, just like said in this, This file, just like I said in this letter, which I will be publishing on the line so you will all have it in your possession. I'll be putting it on the line so you can download and keep a copy for yourself and your children. Because if you don't need a copy of nothing else, you need to put this in your family files. You were never, as it says here, you was never supposed to be on any of these lands. Not if you're white. Yeah, it's a white man out there trying to build a whole city now, ain't it? If that land was already surveyed before you got it, sir, you can't even be out there. And that's by law. That's the War Department. I didn't make this up. It's Washington, D.C. It says any lands. It says any and all in every district of the United States and territories of the United States. Any part of public land, states, and territories of the United States. Okay? Let's keep going. I found this too. Because look, I'm breadcrumbing this because again, the files were destroyed. Petition to Congress. This is in Laura's files. Why is this moving by itself? I have no clue. The senators and representatives of the Congress of the United States of America. Whereas generation after generation of colored people served this country as slaves for 244 years. Whereas the government owes the unknown and deceased colored soldiers a large sum of money which is unclaimed. Whereas many of these soldiers have brothers, fathers, mothers, and sisters among us who are destitute and starving. And whereas it is precedent established by the patriots of this country to relieve its distressed citizens, both on land and sea, and millions of our deceased people, besides those who still survived, worked as slaves for the development of the great resources and wealth of this country. And whereas we believe it just and right to grant the old ex-slaves a pension, therefore, we, the undersigned citizens of the United States of America, appeal your honorable body to pass the Senate Bill number 1978, introduced February 6, 1896, by Senator Thurston of Nebraska, providing pension for freedmen. Pension, U.S. Pension Office, March 18, 1978. Now, this was introduced February 6, 1978. A month later, there's a pension office created. Now, if this shit never passed, why was a pension office created? Somebody gonna have to riddle me this. Please click like and hit share the live. I need every Negro on the line right now. Yeah, we can talk about whatever going on TikTok. That's cool. We need to be on the line because see, shit like this get hidden in the abyss. Because it looked like it's a whole bunch of people collecting money because they get money every month like clockwork. They just pull up and get the check. And it looked like that check was written for a specific group of people, and then all the files destroyed, and then somebody went and wrote a little letter talk about this never passed. If it never passed, it wouldn't have been the whole pension department created. That's housing. I pulled that file. If it never passed, there would have never been the pension department. This would have never been in the pension department. Cause shit that passed, you don't make copies of it. You don't put it in circulars. You don't do any of that. You don't. So again, I said, guys, we're only a few years with these files. These people have had years and years to cover shit up. They have had a long time to cover these files up. And so when I'm trying to help families get their stuff ready, I'm looking at all of these variables that could tie into how the land got taken, how this family got covered up, why these family files are copied. These people have had a long time to copy these files. They have had a long time to put false family trees out. You know how many false family trees I found for people? Never trust a public family tree that you always do further research. Why people have been putting false family trees out for years. Years. They jumped on your family tree, your real family tree, but the one they put out is fake. If you see your family and then you see copies of your family records, oh, something happened. Don't take it like something happened for sure. Something happened. Now, as it relates to Pete Hegseth and all these people being in DC, because, hey guys, we got to read the circular from back in the day where we were supposed to just protect the good Indians and take care of them because they couldn't protect themselves, and we were supposed to protect them, right? At the same time, they was wiping our men out of history. They was wiping our military men out of history like they was nothing. Like they wasn't the first ones to fight. Like we weren't the warrior class. See, you get to write stuff like this and take our men out of the situation like we always been docile. No, 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 no. We ain't always been docile. Behold, 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 the 37th infantry. It's so big. It's so many of them. I can't even fit it on the screen. Behold, all Negroes. Be fucking hold. Don't ever let nobody tell you our men was just sitting somewhere docile. No, 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 no. No, 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 these black men. No, 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 no. Our ancestors fought to protect this land. They got strategically sent cross seas and had the first marching band ever in the history of military. The first marching band in the history of military came from our guys, came from our ancestors. Look at that. Behold. Behold. Our guys. Behold. Our men. Never got a fair shot. God, you're looking at the men they call buffaloes. Marching down Lennox Ave, Fifth Ave in New York. The buffaloes marching up Fifth Ave amid the plaudits of hundreds of thousands of white people whom they stirred by their martial bearing and rhythmic marching. Y'all see that? Can y'all see my screen? I want to make sure y'all can see my screen. Stirred by their rhythmic marching. Look at that. When they show the buffaloes, they only show a few pictures. They don't show the full mass of these men. And this is just one section of the military. Okay? Stirred by their martial bearing and rhythmic marching. So don't let me find out our men was the ones who came up with these marching schematics. Don't let me find out. Cause see, you no longer have to be in neighborhoods saying, oh, the Negroes need our help. No, we need to be really left alone so we can figure this shit out ourselves. We really need to be just left alone. If I'm being quite honest. Can y'all see my screen? Do I need to make it smaller? Oh, child. I'm building a military page. And when I tell you, it's really, 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 really good. Like, y'all know, when y'all met me, I always said, I was studying war. I didn't go to service or anything, but I was able to learn a lot about history just from studying our people. Just from studying Fold 3. A lot of people didn't even know about Fold 3. I told people about Fold 3. Even some of the military men in my family didn't know about Fold 3. Some of my military friends had no clue about Fold 3. I was probably one of the first persons on Fold 3. I was all up in Fold 3 files. People wonder, like, why we use that flag? Because our ancestors used it. Our ancestors used it. Our men. Our ancestors. Proud. Proud. So, moral of the story, we got a lot to do. We got a lot to do. This is not a game. This is not a drill. It's something else I want to show y'all about our men. Let me see can I find it real quick. Cause it's another picture that I saw that I thought was just so cool. Let me see. Let me find it real quick. I think it's in the Navy. Let me see, where did I put it? I just thought it was so cool. Yes, click like in here, guys. We're on to something. And if anybody don't like this kind of material, I don't know what to say, baby. When we come at y'all throat and cut y'all neck off about talk about our ancestors, it's for a reason. Like you would not play games in this season. You will not. You will not. And you're going to learn that karma, a lot of these people are going to learn that karma comes swift. Karma comes very swift And when it comes, it may come in the form of you being deported. So people should keep that in mind. I was looking for the picture. It's a picture of the ancestors. It's a really good picture, guys. Golly. It's a really good picture of the ancestors. Hold my mule. Hold my mule, guys. Let's see. Wong Kim. Hold my mule, guys. It's a picture of the ancestors. Oh my God. What did I do with the picture? See. I literally just looked at the darn picture. It was the 37th Regiment. Hold my mule, guys. Hold my mule. Coming. 37th. I lost it. I lost the picture. I got so many on the 37th. I got a lot of Navy files to load onto the site. So many Navy files. There are these cases of the Navy was segregated. You know, everything was segregated. The military was segregated, all branches, and it's just weird. You know, they had our men. It's just weird. You know, it's just weird. It doesn't give me a good feeling. How they had our indigenous ancestors who were fighting, serving this country, you know, living separately from the other guys. Their area was fenced in like a jail. It even had jail cells, you know, but these were the men who were fighting the hardest for this country. Here go the picture. Here go the picture. I love this. Oh, can you see it? I may have to make it smaller. Oh shit, wait. Can y'all see it? It's their band right out in front of the military. It's the military, the black guys, the whole all black troops now with an all black band, the first to do it. Guys, the first to do it. That's why our HBCUs are so good. Our men was doing it in the colleges. They was doing it in the military. That's why we are the authors of like every music genre. We were just that was us, and we put that in everything we did. That rhythm came from nowhere but America. This, when I see the flag, this is what I feel. This is what I feel. I just love that. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, so that's that. That's that. That's that. That should make you proud. That should make you proud. This should make you so proud. This should make you so proud no matter what nobody call us. No matter what how people try to confuse us about our ancestors. This should make you so proud. Like black men as far as the eye can see. They were a military on their own. They are damn near the size of the military today. That should make you so proud. So, new investigation. Operation 1890. And again, the actual US Census 1890 is intact. They said 65 million files are gone. So, we will get the butter from the duck. I'm going to find these files. I know they're somewhere. I'm going to find them. No worries, guys. I'll be finding them. I will be finding them. I ain't mean to get teary eyed. My bad. God, Lee, I done got dang cry my makeup off. Listen, so I'm building the military page on the U.S. Lineage website, and I have a lot of these files on my other computer, and I just want just a display of, like we've been here, like people are not good farmers today because they don't consult us about farming. People are not great military leaders because they're not consulting our men about what to do. There was a whole meeting at the Pentagon, like I told y'all the last show, where they were saying that our men were not smart enough to be generals. And how could you say that when we were the same group of people who were inventing everything? This is not a military is not a game of wits. It's not all about wits. It's about strength too. Like don't don't neglect the rhythm part of it all. You know what'll happen on the battlefield if a nigga got two left feet? You're dead. And see, that's why when you look at the military operations today, it's covert. It's sneak attacks. It's 5 a.m. No, I think our men were off of y'all at any time of the day. They was able to hold y'all off for all of these up all the way up until the whole world came in on us during the Civil War. And even then, we just kept fighting back, kept rebuilding. So that means our men were kicking y'all ass all times of the day. It didn't even have to be no sneak attack. If you were coming over here, we'd kick your ass. Our men was able to hold y'all back because they was on the water. They knew how to drive boats. Y'all will try them today as if they're not the smartest people on the water, like they're not the smartest boat captains today. They've been smart boat captains. You didn't have to tell these guys how to navigate their homeland. But you put all this red tape in the way of men when they're trying to get a job done. If you remove the red tape, remove all this bullshit, then you wouldn't have to send the military into DC. You lock a black guy up for a dime bag of weed. You think he's gonna want to bring his guns out to protect the community? You know you're gonna lock him up. So when you put that red tape in the way, now you get to say, "Oh, the poor Negroes, they need us to come protect their communities because they're so meek and docile, but they're also savages. But we need to bring the military in to protect this community." You don't have to. You don't have to. You just got to remove the red tape so our men can do what they need to do to protect their community. But they know you're not going to do that. Now we need to also point out, what is this jurisdiction? What is this jurisdiction thing in this Wong Kim Ark case that they would talk about in the Supreme Court about this jurisdiction thing? The babies of slaves, 14th Amendment. What is this jurisdiction that the babies of slaves had? Because, see, they weren't slaves. You knew they were Indians, and that's why you had to write that jurisdiction up that way. That further lets me know that they weren't slaves. That further lets me know that they weren't servants. They was babies of indigenous. They was babies of Indians, but let's call them babies of slaves because it's sensational. You would have never wrote that jurisdiction up there if they was a servant. You would have never did it. When I go back and look at these files in the 1800s, people was fighting. 3 people were killed. That's a file that I'll show y'all another day. It was 3 people got killed behind what happened in the late 1800s. 3 people. They had Roosevelt so shook. Roosevelt knew that was going off his ass too if he didn't do what they said. McKinney got killed behind this shit. Lincoln got killed, and another person got killed in between those 2 killings, specifically for what happened. Specifically for how they was treated. Files was burnt. Land, y'all came and took the land. Y'all came and did everything opposite. You destroyed the Freedmen Bureau files. You closed the banks. All these banks these Negroes had with all their money in it. All these banks did indigenous. Let's line it up. All this stuff we had. You knew you weren't supposed to have it. See? You knew that. Right? But then you gave us an African story, which, it didn't take hold in a lot of places, but for the most part, it took hold. And then you use all the money that you're supposed to be paying out, pensions. You use all that money to hire all these Africans to come here and be on social media, which Tulsi Gabbard just canceled that contract today. Literally, it's so much shit went down in the government today. All of this social media shit, these contracts, these social media companies had, these contracts, these people who was running these social media companies had to do disinformation and to pay people to say certain things. That I didn't even know that was a government contract. All of every contract that Facebook had, YouTube, where they were shadow banning people, literally all that was taken off the books today. And I think $600 or $700 million was added back to the books because they no longer have to pay their money out to content. They're paying content creators. I didn't even know I was today's years old. I mean, we speculated it, but them taking it out the books today means it existed. If you just stop lying, if everybody for a second could just stop lying, stop with this cover up, then we can get somewhere. But are you going to do that? Probably not. Should you, for the sake of your own, being able to close your eyes at night? Absolutely, because it's written that you're supposed to operate a certain way. This is jurisdiction issue. I wanted to come and talk to y'all. I've been wanting to talk to y'all all week about it. I had to stop myself from coming online because my eyes was too red. For one, my eyes was too red. I know y'all saw the changes that was making on the website trying to add the census tiers, but and at one point we just, look, man, it's an issue. It's something. Because political jurisdiction is very different from us being under federal law. You telling me the babies of slaves, how it was interpreted by the Supreme Court when it was first written, meant you only had political jurisdiction. That's some totally different shit, man. That's some totally different shit. That's totally different. Because political jurisdiction, when we got the heirs property and our family is voting, that's political jurisdiction, is my heirs property. Political jurisdiction is literally my heirs property. Like, Like that, like you got to extradite me to my heir's property if that's the case. I said that in a joke one time, but you know, somebody need to, lawyers need to get on this. It's hidden in the Wong Kim Ark files. Go back and look at it. Wong Kim Ark did not argue the 14th Amendment. He argued the 5th Amendment. The United States argued the 14th Amendment. And now I don't know how this shit was tangled, or maybe I'm reading it wrong. I don't think I'm reading it wrong. I just read it out loud again. That was the United States bringing up the 14th Amendment. Wong Kim Ark brought up the 5th Amendment so that he can get off the boat and have a trial. They weren't even gonna let him off the boat. And even in law, maritime law is totally different from land. So even from that angle, the fact that he was captive on a boat, the rules was different. These people who are over here on our land thinking they're using the 14th Amendment based on Wong Kim Ark. They're not on no fucking boat. They're coming in through the border. They're coming in through land. This was talking about a manifest. It had the boats. He was moved from boat to boat. He was moved on about 3 boats. Let's see. This is something. This is what I don't know. This is FEMA's current. This is FEMA's current definition of political jurisdiction. It's their current definition. The common law. This is FEMA, as you can see. Can you see that? Let me see if y'all can see that. FEMA. The common law, the common name for the area with defined political boundaries, which is served by the building department. That to me sounds like a military outpost, maybe a maybe a quartermaster's home or outpost, a quartermaster's outpost, because there were quartermasters own most of the land as a military. It seems like to me, which is served by the building department. Jurisdictions are usually incorporated locations. Most heirs' property is unincorporated. I mean, of course, after the World Wars, when all our land started being taken and sundown towns and shit was created, it went from unincorporated to fully incorporated. But even with that, you have municipalities which are still ran almost like an unincorporated area. Also, keep in mind, FEMA do not help people with heirs property. They don't. And for them to have a jurisdiction definition on their website, it's really the first when you look up the jurisdiction of this Wong Kim Ark case. FEMA is one of the first government sources that come up, and I said that's mighty ironic because FEMA does not help people with heirs property. It's not under their jurisdiction to. It's not under their jurisdiction. Now they're trying to make a rule here recently, as recent as we discussed it on our channel, and then as recent as maybe 2024, FEMA tried to make provisions for people who got heirs property. to say, maybe we can help you. Let's see other ways in which we could possibly help you. See, this this opens up a can of worms that this did, here's the thing. I heard somebody say we shouldn't be called American. And the reason I have a problem with that is because that comes from a mind state that you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to be called just American. You haven't done enough. Until you've seen all the files that I've seen, you would think in your head, why would they just call us Americans? Because that means everybody else will have to change their nationality. And I said, I don't give a damn about what everybody else got to change. They can argue over top two. The reason I feel this way is because our shit been changed multiple times. You mean to tell me they get to live just free and never have their shit changed? We was well established when they changed us multiple times. Yeah, somebody else need to feel that. We American, and that's it. Now, Black American in parentheses. American Indian. We need to take all that back. Because that's what the laws protect. Now, they're going to say the shit was burned. They're going to say it doesn't exist. But it's too many breadcrumbs to say it didn't exist. Where's these fucking pension records? The freedmens were not African. They weren't. They just fucking weren't. Africans were Africans. The few that were here. In fact, just like in his Wong Kim Ark cases, there are other cases. And they breaking these people down by the clothes that they wear. How they look. Breaking them down to the letter. It was so few Africans over here. They're not even listed anywhere. They're not even listed anywhere until down near the 60s. Or if you on the census record and they ask were your parents born, because they start asking that on the census, where are your parents born? What's so interesting about this 1890 census, though, and the portion of the records that was burned, if you can find the 1890 census records, if you can find some of those census records that are unscathed, you most definitely can. And when you find them, it's gonna show very, very interesting stuff. For one, they ask two questions in the name category. You have to put two names in the name category: your English name and your Indian name. On the 1890 census, that they said 65 million files were burned. Now, if I'm just a nigga, right? Why do I have two names? I have an English name and an Indian name on the census. That's the last census that they did like that. That's the last one. That's the last one, guys. Just wanted to bring that to you guys tonight. Just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. Yeah, we look. I'm a fight. Now here's the thing. I just advise, as I have always done, people to not get in the way, because as you can see, everybody who has gotten in the way has really failed. And then it'll make you realize that it ain't me. It's not me. It is not me. It was not me to tell myself to fucking wake up. Don't even go to sleep. It was not me to tell myself, do not go to sleep. Put it together. Nigga, I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. But what happens is they know I'm a fight. They know I'm gonna get to it. Even if I got to be up 24, 48 hours, I don't give a I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to the answer. I'm gonna unpack it all. See, I put it together and then come on here and unpack it. See, y'all don't hear backstories. I tell y'all the backstories like today. But I have to put it together. You got to put stuff together before it can be even unpacked. And then when I bring it to y'all, we're further unpacking it. Like, yeah, I didn't even look in that compartment. But Susu looked in that compartment. I didn't even look in there, but Jalen looked in there. I didn't even look in there, but Fresh Face looked in there. You get what I'm saying? We unpack. Somebody got to be a vessel. Somebody got to hold the line. Somebody got to hold the door. Hold the door shut. Hold the line. Those who can be vessels and listen. In this time right now, because when Pete started saying what he said, I would not have heard it with the same ears that I heard it with had I not seen this war document. I wouldn't have heard it with the same ears. And to me, it says these niggas can't handle themselves with the big master got to come in like we did back in the day. I heard Pete and the guy at Fox News make a joke after we was in here talking about the Freedmen's Files being in the War Department. And then somebody was going back and forth in the chat. I don't know who it was, but somebody said the DOD is not the War Department. I was calling the DOD the War Department. Somebody in the chat said the DOD is not the War Department. I didn't see the comments till after the live. But somebody in the chat corrected them, said, yeah, the DOD is the War Department. It was changed to the War Department. It was days later where the Fox News commentator and Pete Hegseth was like, well, I don't know whether you're at the DOD or the War Department. So I don't know who's watching this show, but ain't shit funny. Ain't shit funny and ain't shit sweet. We asked for reparations kindly, and that's before we start seeing all these files. See, that was before we seen all our men marching. We knew our men fought for this country. We knew our women fought for this country. I knew you had them segregated. I didn't know there were cages involved. I didn't know there were jail cells involved on the military bases. I had made a comment years ago saying all that colored fountain and white fountain. I had made a comment years ago saying that was on military bases. I don't even fucking know what made me say that. But I know I said it during the live. I was spazzing out about something. And I said that during the live, and now you see the photos, and it's like, yeah, that was on military bases. That's exactly how they were segregated. And there's some areas that was only colored, and in some areas, the white people, the black soldiers couldn't even go in the white areas. They was even served different food. I'm talking the Navy. You were even serving our ancestors different food. If it was like that in the Navy, I can imagine what the Army was doing. Then, I mean, it was heartbreaking enough that you fucking left them out of the GI Bill after you know they don't went over there and fought. And then you brought all these Germans in here, and somehow the Germans got it. And then we're not supposed to say anything about it as a descendants. We're not even supposed to pick this shit back up and try to make it right. We're not even supposed to try to fight to make it right. We see now lawsuits of them suing where they were trying to make it right, and you still didn't make it right. We see pension records now of you supposed to be paying out a pension, but then World War I started. Now, if they had started paying out this pension, it was damn sure short lived because guess what happened? World War I happened. Did you pay anything after you start killing all those Negroes, colors, darkies, and Indians? during World War One? Or did you know they hadn't already forgot because you just took them off their land? Not only that, you done took their oil fields, you done took their cotton fields, you done took their tobacco farm, you done took the damn pecan tree, you done took everything. Then took the land, made sundown towns, put your military camps there, and then you got the same Pentagon that had secret meetings sitting on the old black community to this fucking day, and nobody wants to acknowledge the shit. You know, push the foreigners out 2 by 2. It's give us something to kiki about. Push these niggas out by the thousands. Send these people the fuck back. All this money that Israel and all these places, Africa and all these places getting from us, you need to get that shit back. Somebody put in my chat, they got $65 billion. Somebody made me remember math. They said no, $65 in US currency. That's trillions in African currency. See? That's why this money is so important. It's so important to follow this trail of where that $65 billion that they got in the last 2 years went. It's important because you can spread that money out amongst your people and they can be sitting here attacking us online and getting paid to attack us online. They can be trying to attack us in person. You damn sure got enough money to do it. Send these niggas out by the thousands. Fuck this 2 by 2 shit. This is not Noah's Ark. Send these people the fuck home. All of them. Trillions. And that's why you got the white people over there kissing the Africans' feet and shit. All these goofy ass pictures of white people just bowing down to African, kissing their feet and putting on dashikis and kneeling to them. Because they've been over here grifting our goddamn money and taking it back to massa, and y'all splitting the goddamn money and giving us a year return fucking story. You know that shit never flew in the South. It really don't fly in the South. But some people fell for it. If you keep pushing it to people on social media, people will fall for it eventually. Good thing we on y'all goddamn ass now. Boy, good thing we are on y'all now. Anyway, guys, I ain't want to hold y'all captive. I done held y'all captive on here for 2 hours. I will hope y'all will share this live. And if you want to add to this investigation, they say we're supposed to be broke by 2053. They moved it up 3 years because we didn't start getting land back 2053 now. It was 2050, but now it's 2053. They say we're supposed to have no wealth, no land, no nothing. And if you are a human being, you would not be okay with that. And so I'm thinking I'm going to find as many of these burned files that I can find to really put this together. I'm going to see, did the Freemans did they really get reparations? And the shit was diverted to somebody else. And then the term freedman was just kind of wiped off the table because it wasn't a race. It wasn't a race anyway. It was just kind of like a saying. And then that's why our race keep getting changed. Because now you don't have to pay the pensions out to the descendants like it was written. Some evil shit, man. It's some evil shit. And then my daddy told me, before I get off here, my daddy told me not long ago, he was like, he's just so impressed about how much I know about land and pulling out land records and helping people get their family land back. Because being from the South, he got a lot of friends that, we're accustomed to having property in the South, in South Georgia, where I'm from. A lot of people are still on heirs property, man. You got people on heirs property. They don't pay nothing. They run. You got black men down there in South Georgia, man. They'll run your lights, run your water, and pave your road in one work shift. So a lot of people are not. A lot of people just never left. You got people who's been there for a long time, but you got to fight like hell because people are always trying to come get it. People are always trying to figure out a way to put a virus in your city, or do some kind of weird legislation where they take it via eminent domain when they know you the one ran these lights. You ran these light poles. You dug these. You dug this water. These wells, and now all these houses on your heirs property got fresh, clean well water. That's the life in a lot of parts of Georgia, but they kind of paint this state like it's some kind of white people haven when it's never been. It never been majority white here ever. In the history of Georgia, it has never been majority white. You can fight me. I've been in this bitch. My bloodline been in this bitch for a long time. We never left the state. We sent one person over to get the land in Indian Territory, but our family stayed here. Just like I'm telling y'all to do today. You're gonna go on these trials, just send one person over to get it. This is not a new theory. This is old. People been doing this for a long time. Never send the whole family. The warriors gonna always stay here and fight. The warriors ain't gonna never abandon the land. And so, my dad told me, he was like, if you're finding a lot of people's heirs property, you may want to factor in how much money the government took for involuntary servitude, how much land the government took when people got locked up. Because he said before he was born, you had to put up the land in order for people to get, you know, let out of jail. You had to put up the land. So that was a sneaky, crafty way of taking heirs' property, of which you was never supposed to take, especially putting out this 14th Amendment with the definition of the jurisdiction, the full definition, which you'll only have in political jurisdictions. You definitely was not supposed to take the land when somebody get locked up via a bail bondsman. The bail bondsman was never even supposed to have any heirs property, any land, period. I mean, just on this war document alone. And then you put crimes on people in order to take it. See, this man was looking at a white lady. This man raped a white lady. It was a whole era where military vets was raping white women and regular everyday black men was raping white women. My ancestor was lynched here in Georgia. One of my ancestors was lynched here in Georgia. They said he raped the white women. The woman was so caught off guard. She said, "I had never seen this man before." Guess what they did? They lynched him anyway. The lady who they said he raped, she said, "I ain't never seen this man before." You took a lot of family land just that way alone. So it's beyond us just having regular heirs property issue, just land being taken, you know, via floodings and burned cities and sundown towns and just people being ran off the land and immigrants having a free home, free clothes. Now they got your family Bible. Now they have your heirs property records, your land patents that was affixed to the walls and hidden in these Bibles. Now they have all your shit. Ran you off. We gotta now take into consideration all the land that was taken. And I didn't never think about this till my dad said it. The land that was taken via the people who were wrongfully incarcerated and had to put up the land via bail bondsman. And then when they was freed, never got the land back. when they was wrongfully convicted, never got the land back. Some of these cases are so treacherous. They didn't get expunged until after they was dead. They didn't get what they call it when they clear the record, when they free the person. That didn't happen until after these people died. They never gave the land back. anyway, anyway, thank you guys for supporting the channel. Hey guys, I'm originally gave them to some that's been stuff. All praise and honor to the ancestors. Absolutely, world knows, Lord knows. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. God knows, and they hear, and they're here, and they're here. Thank you so much, Autumn Bass, for the super chat. You said your unwavering research is amazing. Many blessings. Thank you so much, sister. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jane. Miss Wilson, I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Miss Yvette Way. She said, for you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. He said file storage for it. I appreciate that. Woo, you have no clue. Woo, you have no clue. You know what? Oh, child. I appreciate that. Get down file store, boy. I'm telling you. Thank you, Chief Bassful, for the super chat. He said it's a beautiful one. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What's it? File storage, baby. It is not cheap. It is not cheap. It is not cheap. But you know what? We good because I feel like we got something. I feel like we got something, and then y'all would be surprised. Y'all would be surprised the number of attacks that we have to block whole countries. That's why I was telling y'all, like when you're searching on the website, and if you got a what you call it on your phone, let me see, redacted. I got a super chat. Did you see redacted about? I ain't see it. Hold on. Thank you for the super chat, darling. It said, did you see redacted about the Pentagon in Washington and the hidden artifacts under the Smithsonian? Trump wants the artifacts displayed? What? No, I didn't see it. But look, there was a whole you talking about World War One, the CCC and all these people, they were put together in order to excavate and find artifacts. Now, if we was a people who was just over here slaves, there would be no artifacts. If everybody was new to America, there literally would be no artifacts. My ancestor was dug up from Barron County at the Smithsonian. His shit is at the Smithsonian. Everything was taken out of his tomb, which is what his grave was called, a tomb. Street named after him. Little bitty, it's a mound over there. And South Georgia is flat. I never believed none of the shit they said about us. Never. Thank you for the super chat, Cray Finery. I appreciate that. Many new Africans, Texas, new cars and lots of groceries. Wait, what? You said they got new cars. They finna leave. Don't worry about it. They finna be up out of here. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Mother Tree and Moon. She said, I shot you and your website out on live and on thank you. Out on any live I'm on. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we on this. Hey, tell the Negro, tell the man, look, look. I want to get where we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Trust me, we're getting somewhere. Y'all could just hold the door for us. Hold the door for me. I need a few good men at the door. I need a few good women on the line with me. That's all we need. That's all we need. I see. Here's what I feel like. You know, I feel like, and I'm gonna get off here. I feel like, you know, we'll go further if people block out the trees. You know the saying, you cannot see the forest for the trees, is very true. You can look at all the Negroes right now. Okay. Just look at all of us, all the content creators, all the commentators, all of the whatever, even people work 9 to 5, whatever. Look at and listen to the conversations of everybody around us and see, are we seeing the forest, or is there's too many trees in the way? Or is there too many trees in the way? See, I see the forest. I love trees, but I see the fullness of the forest. The big picture is what I see. So I don't see we had an ethnogenesis. An ethnogenesis is a tree. It's a tree. I don't see partnering with allies that are not here, that are not from here. That's a tree. See, I will make my cousin an ally. I will go rekindle a flame with even my enemy in order to get this shit done. And I'm the type of person, once you fuck me over, I just never talk to you again, ever. I've cut people off cold turkey. But in order to get this right here done, I will talk to my enemy. See, if my enemy is from here, tried and true, blue like me, we can get it done fast. But everything else, I will not partner with an African cross seas. You're a tree. You're in the way. You're not. I don't have time to look over my shoulders for you. See, my enemy, if he's here or she's here, then she see the bigger picture like me. I ain't got time to rekindle no flames right now, to be honest. However, if I had to for the greater good of the mission, I ain't got no problem. I ain't got no problem. I ain't got no problem. Especially seeing this new data set, these new records. Some ain't right. Some give me a funny feeling. I'm telling you, I when I say I wanted to come live so bad yesterday, just so I can have a full night of sleep. I woke the developer up after me looking and trying to find these files when I thought I had a lead. I probably woke the developer up about 5 in the morning. He married. He married. I just said, tell your wife, my apologies. I need you up right now. And that's when we start tinkering with their website. That was like 5 in the morning, maybe. That was before everybody was up for sure. It was before the sun was up. But I already had about a 24 hour. I already had quite a while just looking at this forest here. The records was burnt. The Bibles were stolen. And now, how are you going to do genealogy? And now, how are you going to tell who's who? There was various shades of dark over here. There's various shades of brown, and we could tell that from the boat records alone. Now I'll pull them back out on another show. But there were so many shades of brown. Even you can look in your family today. Look at your siblings. Hell, look at your family. It's various colors just in your family, and ain't none of y'all mixed. It's various shades of dark in my family, and ain't none of us mixed with nothing. My family, worked in the sun. They get dark. They get dark. But that darkness that they get is explained on the boat record. I'm literally the color copper. That's explained on a boat record. My mom is a tinge lighter than me, but her family is. My mom used to damn near be a red bone, but now she dark skinned. But her family go from light skin to dark skin as they get older. I don't know why. Nobody has pointed it out. The hair turns from gray to black. It's weird, but it's just how it is. Maybe it's an eating habit. Maybe it's a genetic. I don't know. But we can't talk too loud about it. The fucking Chinese may be looking and it's gonna put some your way so they can fucking study it. They should study shit before we do about us when they need to be studying them Down syndrome eyes that they have. But anyway, various shades of dark, various shades of light, and it's all on the records. Various eye colors, dark skin with blue eyes. I seen it on the boat files. A dark skinned man with blue eyes. A brown man with hazel eyes. It's like we was all over here. So if you burn all the records and you hide all the family Bibles and steal all the family Bibles, it's easy. Just they colored, coloreds, the coloreds. Fuck them, the coloreds. I swear, that's exactly how I'm feeling. Like what happened? The coloreds. Whew, got a lot to figure out, man. Thank you so much, Nese King. Thank you so much, fan character sending hearts. Thank you for the hearts. Hey, I ain't seen you on here in a long time. I've missed your life. Don't ever disappear on us. I ain't disappeared. I've been here. I've been here. You left. I didn't leave. Phoenix. You left. I didn't leave. Talk about don't disappear on us. Y'all, have I left? I've been here the whole time. I ain't left for too long. Never. You know? Even when I want to leave, I said, let me get my ass on line because I don't want the people to ever feel like they're in the fight by themselves. No, I'm always here in the fight. I ain't never leaving the fight. You know, Phoenix, you wasn't even around. We done got shit to the White House and everything. We rolling. We rolling, Phoenix. We got a website. We got our own website again, Phoenix. We put it back up. Okay. You know, we on to something. We on to something. Okay. We're onto something. We're onto something, Phoenix. Get on the website. Hop on the website with us and search up some files with us. You know. Search up some files with us, Phoenix. See, y'all, this was added the other day. This was oh God, I done made the screen too big. This was added the other day, this census box. And some of you probably was online when the site was being edited in real time. But what had happened was I woke him up so early in the morning. We thought we would be done trying to, put the source here, but we just could not make it happen. So shit was being edited in real time. People was up on the site. I'm like, Lord, people done woke up. We were trying to beat people before the sunrise. We just could not beat y'all. Y'all be on there all day. Some people doing full shifts on there. Some people doing full shift, but we're gonna have to have a way. You know how Meta buying these cities with the store shit? We gonna have to buy a city after a while. It is what it is. Thank you so much for the super chat, Phoenix. Thank you, Retta. I appreciate this. Thank you for the exposure of this wicked and corrupt system. They have spun us in a web of deceit. I could not have said that better, and I just hate it. And I just want to know. I just want to tell myself. This is what I want to tell myself. I want to say they don't know either. That's what I want to say so bad. Maybe they don't fucking know either. Maybe that's why they watch my show. I know somebody in the government watch my. I don't know who. But maybe they don't fucking know either. Maybe they don't know. I don't know. Well, I sure hope they don't know, because if they fucking do, and they on code, if they know and they're on code this good, that's wild. If they knew about all this, that means these people are on code. They don't see trees. They only see forests. They don't see trees. They only see forests. If it's an entertainment, it's only for a certain amount of time, then back to the forest. back to seeing the forest. You know, I can see how that could happen. Thank you, Elements of Cool. Said thank you for your work. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, KB. I think I already read this one. Yep, I read this. I haven't watched that redacted show, but I'm gonna go back and look at it because I do like redacted. Butter Brown Butter Bay. Thank you for the super chat, Miss Brown Butter Bay. I appreciate it. And KB for another super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you for your work you put in. They spoke about who built the mound. So much info. Who redacted? Redacted did? Wow. Yeah, I like redacted. I felt redacted a long way. I think they both used to be on mainstream news. Oh, guy used to work for Fox News, but even when he worked for Fox News, he was kind of white but woke. It's weird. He was white but he woke. You know, he was talking about direct energy weapons a long time before it was even made that it was a real thing back when it was just like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. No, he went and pointed it out a long time. That was back when he was on Fox News. Yeah, so I don't know. That's probably why he got fired from Fox News. He kind of like the other guy who got fired from that big news company for exposing something you really wasn't supposed to expose. I think that's the same thing happened to the white guy on Redacted. But he's just not as popular, I don't think, as the other guy was. Thank you for the super chat, North Side. I feel Black Americans could flip whole situation on its head. Go Africa, do trades, build the American Black South, become a powerhouse. We don't need nothing from Africa. See, that's a tree. I see the forest. We got everything over here. Have you seen the commodities list for America? You know, you got to look at the commodities list for me. Africa need us. We don't need Africa. Africa definitely need America. We definitely don't need Africa. Africa need Africa. Don't forget we were just giving these niggas food the other day. So they're trying to get in America by any means necessary because they need somewhere to go where it is water, where it is, electricity. They can barely run their own electricity. But they can do rituals real good though. They over there slaughtering our good Watutsis, our cows. They'll slaughter a cow and paint themselves in ash and do all that bullshit. Do everything except seeing their own forest. You know, they'll stand in a semicircle and do a curse, and it'll only bounce on themselves. It'll only bounce within their tribes. And after all this time, who over there we can even do trade with? Nobody. I'm not trading you oil for shea butter. No, 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 no. See, white people need to go to Africa because white people aren't from America. They're just here. They could make a deal with Africa to get them some land over there. Because even by that War Department record, you ain't supposed to have no land over here. You was over here for. We ain't got to get back into it. You get it. Thank you so much for the super chat, Marcus. How many of y'all's arm hairs turned blonde or red in the sun? Yeah, it turns like a rainbow. You know, when you got to squint your eyes and then look at it. Go in the sun, squint your eyes, and then look at the hair on your arms. All your hair turns into like a rainbow of colors, like because it's melanin. It's the same thing as when you look into a clear diamond. You see all the colors. It's carbon. Diamonds are just pressed carbon. That's it. Same chemicals. Same chemicals. Thank you for the super chat. In the Indigo. That's supposed to be indigo. If that's supposed to be indigo, then that's pretty dope. It might not be indigo because it looked like it'd be XEAU, but that could be indigo too. I don't know. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live. I hope you guys have shared this live with somebody. I hope you have shared this live with somebody. We got a lot of work to do. Thank you guys for joining the site. Whoever's on there, be patient with us. This is phase one. We're gonna move into phase two here soon. Just gonna keep working. And it's billions of files on there, guys. Take your time. Go look through the files. Look through the files. Take your time, look through the files. Set you a schedule, maybe on Fridays or Saturdays or the weekends, because sometimes people have more time on the weekends, or maybe just, hey, an hour out of the day on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, just look through your ancestors' stuff, you know, just look through them. And like I said, I'll be putting more files on the site because I'm always I download a lot of miscellaneous stuff for the site. But I download a lot of files just for my clients from the site. But I use a few other sources too. And don't forget, you still have to go into courthouses because courthouses house files that aren't on none of these sites. None of them. None of them. So, and that's just because they have not, scanned any of these records in for whatever reason. I mean, you can hide the land that way if nobody goes to the courthouse to see the actual land records. So, you know, I advise people who are researchers, sometimes you got to get offline, close the computer, and get in that car. Just make a random trip, just make a random trip and ask where the records are stored, and they'll point you right to them. They ain't gonna give you no hassle, ain't even gonna give you no haggle. Trust me, I done been in courthouses in sundown towns and there the bitch. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you in no sundown town. You ain't gotta worry about none of that shit. Stay strapped, stay dangerous always, but be your feminine, pretty self if you're a woman, of course. But still, keep that heat on you. Okay, keep that fire in that car. Okay, especially if you're going into these towns that you may be, a little bit iffy. Keep that fire on you, cause you might have to shoot your way out there, bitch. Ain't no telling. Just be ready for whatever. Be ready for whatever. Be ready for whatever. Somebody said my cash app is better. Yes, my cash app is unpacked. I thought everybody knew my cash app. It's unpacked. It's the name of the show. It's unpacked. I missed half the conversation though. Oh, somebody put my cash up in there already. Okay. Thank you for whoever that was asking about my cash app. Oh, the site is uslineage.com. Like us line age. uslineage.com. uslineage.com is the site. Let me put it in there. Let me put it in here before we leave so people can come on home, kick your shoes off, read some articles. I'm always putting articles and stuff on the site. Always putting stuff on the site. So it's a lot of pages that are coming soon. Now, don't put in no weird prompts because you get blocked. If you put in a weird prompt on the site, and it's like that because you know there's some weirdos. There's some weirdos out here in the world that just don't want to see us do nothing. And I'm just convinced of that. It's some people who literally just don't want to see us win. And that's sad. But the site is very sensitive to certain prompts. It will block you. I'm telling you, it'll block you very quick if you put some weird prompts in. And a lot of people have tried it, and some people I manually unblock, and some people I'm just like, I think you actually wanted to be blocked. I think this person actually wanted to be blocked. But this is the site, uslineage.com. Let me put it up where y'all can see it. why my screen is doing acting so weird today. I don't know why my screen acting so weird today. Like it's so annoying. It just will not get right. It just will not get right. It just will not get right for some reason. I think it's this. Oh, I see what I just did. Whatever. Fuck. I don't feel like fucking with that shit right now. USlineage.com. Here you go. You can pull it up. Pull it up from your computer. It's better to do research from your computer, guys, because this site, these are, you know, sometimes you may click on the file set and then like y'all have seen, y'all saw I wasn't capping about it. Sometimes you may pull up a file set and it may be 200 files, literally. You know. And you just got to sit there and click them and go through them and see which one is related to your ancestor, and that's the one you pull out. It's a research site, you know. So it's better to do it from your computer, because if you on your phone, now if you ain't got nothing but a phone, then of course do it from your phone. But if you are on a computer, thank you so much, Iris Streeter. Thank you so much for the cash up. I see you. I appreciate that. Iris said, "Continue your research." Thank you so much. I surely will. You look if you put that on your phone, you're gonna I mean, if you turn your phone this way, then maybe you can get away with it because you'll have a wider screen. But using your phone this way, and you click on the file, and that shit is 100, 200 images. It's just gonna be stacked on your phone. Trust me, we troubleshooted all this stuff on the phone. Now all the rest of the websites, I mean, all the rest of the pages, um, maybe with the exception of one other page with files on it, the policy page may do that too. But for the most part, all the other pages, they're very much in line with the website settings, so they won't mess up on your phone because it adjusts to the site. But when we start adding all the pages with a lot of files on them, we we're gonna get there. It just takes a lot of money to code that type of to design that the type of design. But we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We maybe even have an app coming in one of the phases to make it much easier for us. But we're just one or 2 weeks in, guys. Shit, we done had to update our storage and everything just in 2 weeks. 1 or 2 weeks, we've had to already update our storage. But anyway, that's that, guys. I love you guys. I love y'all. We all we got, we all we need, and that's just what it is. We all we got, we're all we need. And how's it? It's been hard, Marcus. I'll help you. I'll help you. Don't worry, I'll help you. I meant to do a tutorial. Some people aren't having any issues, but some people may be having issues. Just don't know. It's just kind of difficult because it's a lot of files to go through. It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of files. And it's files about your ancestors that you may not even know are related to your ancestors. Pictures, and you just don't know when you put the ancestor's name in what comes up. You just don't know how it's related. And it's current stuff on there and old stuff on there. So it's a lot. And it kind of can be overwhelming, especially for somebody who's really busy. It can be very overwhelming. Okay. Updates on Hello Plants. I got a lot of people's order in the queue to be shipped out here. And so you'll be getting that. Orders on volume 3 of the book has not started yet, guys. It's not started yet. Do not beat me up, guys. I'm just catching up with a lot of this stuff. Um Genealogy, I still got a few people in genealogy to reach out to. A few people in the land sector, the Greer families. I know I got y'all up. I feel like y'all are next in my queue. That's the next family, I think. Is the Crier family, I think. Not Greer, Crier. But I'm coming to everybody. So we're cooking with fish grease here. Anyway, love y'all. Good night.